Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and this is a situation that we unfortunately have seen far too often over the years. Many discussions have been had, and similar discussions have even seen me, along with numerous other content creators, as well as corporations, getting sued by the psychopath Acerthorn over. And some of those lawsuits are still continuing to this day, including the defamation lawsuit against me. But if it's one thing I cannot abide, nor have I ever, is when a content creator abuses the copyright law to attempt to silence another creator. And today we have exactly that happening to the YouTube channel Fritanga Plays, a games commentary YouTuber with a little over 73,000 subscribers. Now, a few days ago, Fritanga Plays posted a video titled, "Crazy PlayStation Fanboy Smashes Webcam Over PlayStation 5 Having No Games and Demands Better," in which he critiques and basically laughs at some large ranting coming from a person during a BrokenGamezHDR episode of his Weapon Wheels podcast, where they're talking about, or rather arguing about, the new PlayStation 5 Pro, PlayStation exclusives or lack thereof, and arguments surrounding indie games.
Benji, I know your no-leg ass ain't being stupid in the chat.
Come on, man.
This nigga literally, his brain is literally plugged up to a CPAP machine, and this nigga trying to, I can't stand you retarded faggot ass, bitch ass, stupid motherfucking bitch, suck it.
Come on, Benji didn't deserve that, man.
I don't mute him.
You muted yourself, Jack. You muted yourself.
Benji didn't deserve
Yo,
that.
what? Yo, what? Oh,
Yeah, he's going off.
Ah, shit.
For those of you who aren't aware, BrokenGamezHDR, spelled with a Z because why not, is a YouTube channel with 110,000 subscribers and primarily focuses on PlayStation news, games, and other forms of PlayStation-centric content with a heavy focus on his Weapon Wheels podcast. After Fritanga Plays posted his video, it didn't stay up for very long before he received the notice we've all seen so many times in the past, that he'd received a DMCA takedown and strike of his video covering Broken Games. Apparently, Broken Games didn't like the fact that another creator was laughing at him in his content. Fritanga Plays did what any other channel in his situation would have done and posted an announcement on social media about what had happened. And Broken Games, just like most content creators, and I include myself in that analysis, just couldn't keep his mouth shut. In a now deleted post, which was a very quick deletion, Broken Games had the following to say. "Yup, and I did it with a big old Kool-Aid smile on my face, too. Don't use my content without my permission, weirdo. Fuck you thought this was. You thought I wouldn't do nothing like you did when your brother took your girl? Fuck out of here." Which, colorful language, terrible sentence structure, and seemingly apparent lack of intellect aside, this statement tells us a few things. First, seemingly self-proclaimed hater supreme has no concept of what fair use is. It does not require permission. It also tells us that given the lack of intellect on display here and the statement that he filed the DMCA takedown with a big old smile because of a lack of permission, Broken Games seemingly did not even consider fair use, which is a legal requirement that is set in case law within the United States. And to further that, let's go through the video in question. As always, whenever possible, I like to review videos for myself to determine if a video is likely fair use before I discuss these topics, because there's a very old saying that goes, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. Meaning I prefer to deal with certainty in situations like this whenever possible, not supposition. Now, we know from the DMCA takedown file to YouTube that it cites 12 minutes 59 seconds to 15 minutes and 3 seconds, so a total of 2 minutes and 4 seconds in length. And Fritanga Plays did provide me with an offline copy of the video that received the DMCA strike for me to review. It is worth noting that there were a total of 6 clips taken from the Broken Games podcast, and this one was likely chosen because its length made it easy for Broken Games to find. That is merely supposition, so let's look at some facts. So when it comes to fair use, it boils down to the 4 factors and the unofficial 5th factor. Now, none of these factors are standalone. They're legs on a stool, if you were, and upon that stool sits fair use. The stool can lose a leg or two, but if it loses too many, then fair use falls. And none of these legs can be assessed in a vacuum. The whole has to be considered as well. So our first step with any fair use analysis is to break things down so they can then be taken as an amalgamation. There is the first factor, the purpose and character of the use, also known as the transformative factor, which Stanford University lists a very good definition for those. And it states, in a 1994 case, the Supreme Court emphasized this first factor as being an important indicator of fair use. At issue is whether the material has been used to help create something new or merely copied verbatim into another work. When taking portions of copyrighted work, ask yourself the following questions. Has the material you have taken from the original work been transformed by adding new expression or meaning? Was value added to the original by creating new information, new aesthetics, new insights and understandings? Now, when it comes to a transformative use, critique and critical commentary are very easy to fulfill under this requirement because critique and commentary, by their very nature, add additional context, meaning, information, and opinion based upon the original. And while 6 clips were used within this video, the vast majority of the content contained within the video is Fritanga Plays original content, opinion, and critique. Within this video, the transformative factor is easily met. The second factor is a sort of a throwaway when it comes to these sort of analyses, and I'll tell you why. The nature of the copyrighted work. This factor simply states that there is a separation of fact from fiction within copyright, with copyright being more lenient towards the factual. This is statistical versus creative and published versus unpublished. And the podcast is a creative work, one that has obviously been published. The scope would be far narrower if this were an unpublished work, and it would be far broader if it was nothing but pure factual information. And then we have the third factor, the amount and substantiality of the portion taken. Now, with this factor, the rule of thumb is lesser is better. But it also stands that as much as is needed also applies, meaning there can be no strict percentage or time allotment involved for how much is necessary when it comes to videos critiquing other videos. And with anything to deal with copyright and fair use, every single instance is going to be different. Each one of them have to be gauged on their own merits. There can't be any broad spectrum blanket statements regarding these sort of things when it comes to fair use. Obviously, examples will need to be used within a video that critiques another video, but how much is needed? Well, as with everything that is highly dependent on the situation, when dealing with a person who is losing their proverbial shit, as the subject of this video clearly was, to the point where he allegedly broke his own webcam live during the podcast in a fit of syphilitic insanity over an argument concerning the PlayStation Pro, it's hard to not use clips that are a bit longer to get your point across when no one stops for breath. And as a clip used for citation during a critical commentary video, if it was enough to get the point across and to not allow for claims of being taken out of context, it was sufficient. And in my non-lawyery but nevertheless well-versed opinion when it comes to copyright law, Fritanga Plays use here does satisfy the third factor. We then have the fourth factor, the effect of the use on the potential market. Fritanga Plays video in no way serves for a market replacement for the original and would in fact likely drive traffic towards the original by its very existence. So in that, Fritanga Plays easily clears the fourth factor hurdle, which, all things being equal, means that Fritanga Plays video very much is fair use, something that Broken Games failed or potentially refused to even consider. And his DMCA takedown of Fritanga's video is spurious as a result. And there are a couple of things that make the spurious DMCA strike worse than normal. The first is obviously the fact that this is a fellow content creator, a fellow YouTuber. We all, as YouTubers, know that the DMCA and US copyright law as a whole is absolute garbage, and probably the only law seemingly in existence within the United States where innocent until proven guilty need not apply. It is very much the inverse. Guilty until proven innocent, at least when it comes to the DMCA and its horrendously awful takedown provisions. And to see one YouTuber attacking another in this manner definitely makes this situation worse. A YouTuber should know better. The other thing that makes it worse is this is by no means the first time that Broken Games has behaved in this manner. Years ago, the YouTuber DocTrey81 received at least one DMCA takedown from Broken Games. I was also sent 2 videos made by Broken Games where he had discussed DMCA strikes filed against Dr. Trey81, and within both of those videos, the reasoning behind Broken Games' DMCA strikes were because of nothing more than hurt feelings.
I mean, I can't believe that people have the audacity to make me seem like the bad guy in the situation. Make me seem like the bad guy. When Trey's become a complete and maniacal egomaniac, and you know he's been riding his own dick for too long. Like you want to act like a dickhead, I had to shoot him off his high horse. He acting like he was on a cloud. Like you needed a reality check, Trey. You really need a reality check because you really think you like this shit on this site or something. When you small fish compared to these niggas in the pond. You small fish, Trey. Like.
So what happens now? Well, Fritanga Plays has stated that he has no intention of providing Broken Games with his private information, so come Monday, he will be contacting an attorney to handle the counter notification for him in order to prevent his personal information from being disclosed out of a very real concern about potential doxing on the part of Broken Games. And also, as the video was taken down, Broken Games has committed perjury in this regard, as it is very clear by history and by his own admission that he did not consider fair use, nor would he have cared if he did. He simply took delight in damaging a fellow YouTuber who was guilty of nothing more than having a few laughs. And also, I've said it what feels like 100 times before, but it needs to be said yet again, and I hope you're listening, Broken Games, because you need to pay attention. If he wants to, Fritanga Plays could absolutely sue your ass for your actions here, and he would have a decent case if he chooses to pursue that route. I don't know if he will. I didn't ask. I figured if he does choose to travel down that road, I'd let that be a surprise for you. Consequences for your actions and for your pattern of behavior. The DMCA is a shield to protect copyright owners from people stealing their work. It is not, nor has it ever been, intended to be used as a weapon against someone else. But that is what you have done, Broken Games. You didn't like the fact that Fritanga Plays had a good laugh over the antics on your podcast, so you used the DMCA takedown system as a hammer to beat him over the head with. It is despicable, it is deplorable, and you as a YouTuber absolutely should know just how damaging such actions can be. A DMCA, especially for a content creator, should be a tool of last resort to protect your copyright, not a first strike weapon to silence those critical of you and your content. How a pile of tuberculotic sputum like you gains the faith and trust of any of your subscribers, I will honestly never know. Go support Fritanga Plays. A link to his channel will be in the pinned comment down below. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha. See you next time.